Now, last week I released a video defining mental health and highlighting some key mental health facts and statistics because, as we now know, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, you can find a link to that video up here as well as in the description down below, so make sure you circle back to that video, but after you finish watching this one. Now, if you didn't check out my last video, I left you with some facts and statistics related to the mental health of boys and men. And there were some very common themes with those statistics. Don't believe me? Okay, let's start with this statistic right here. Boys feel societal expectations to hide or suppress their feelings when feeling sad or scared, which makes sense given that depression, with a capital D, often goes undiagnosed and untreated. We also see a similar pattern with anxiety. Now we have to discuss a sensitive topic for informational and educational purposes, so let's hope that the almighty YouTube Elder Council does not flag and/or censor this video. But that very sensitive and taboo topic is suicide. And while non-fatal suicide attempts and suicidal thoughts and ideation are more prevalent amongst women, men are almost 4 times more likely to die by suicide. Now, why is that? That's a good question. Well, because men tend to use more violent and lethal means. So it's clear that many men have struggled and are struggling to discuss their mental health. But why? Well, it's related to a combination of factors. So let's start with the first one. Cultural expectations and social stigma. Many cultures encourage men to suppress their emotions and avoid showing vulnerability out of the belief that it will be exploited and seen as a sign of weakness. Now, this conflicts with some cultural notions that men should always exude strength and self-reliance and stoicism. Now, this conditioning doesn't start in late adolescence or adulthood like some people believe. It often starts in childhood. So what eventually happens to many of our boys? Well, many of our boys grow up and develop into men who find it difficult to cope in healthy ways with certain emotions and to discuss their mental health with even the most trusted friends, family, loved ones, and mental and/or medical health professionals. And last thing, I want to be very clear about something. There are moments where it may be appropriate to hide or suppress certain emotions, but there's also something to be said about making sure that we go back and revisit those thoughts and emotions so they don't stay suppressed and pop up to express themselves in an unexpected or even unhealthy way in the future. Number 2, fear of judgment. Now, despite the myth that some boys and men believe that men don't experience fear, many of us actually fear being judged, ridiculed, or not taken seriously and dismissed if we admit to struggling with mental health issues. And this fear can and will lead to many of us further suppressing our emotions. Now, this can also lead to a reluctance to even acknowledge we're struggling with the problem and to seek help or treatment. Number 3, lack of education. Now, many men have mental health issues and some have mental illness but don't even know it. So what happens? As a result, the mental health issue and/or illness goes untreated. And untreated mental illness, that can lead to other problems. Some men find other ways to cope that may include things like drugs, alcohol, food, sex, etc. And these coping mechanisms may lead to addictions over time. Number 4, perceived burden. Now, some men may feel that discussing their mental health will place an undue burden on others, especially family members and close friends. So they may choose to keep their struggles to themselves. And last but not least, lack of access to resources. Now, depending on a number of factors like location, personal preferences, treatment modalities, and overall availability, there can be a lack of accessible resources specifically tailored to men's mental health needs. Now, this may make it more difficult for men to find the appropriate supports. For example, some men may finally reach a point where they're willing to speak to a therapist, but they may prefer in-person sessions with a Black male therapist to talk about men's issues and to speak with someone they feel can relate to their experiences. But what if they're only able to find 2 elderly white men and all women taking new clients? Affordability is also a concern for some men, and this isn't just in regards to treatment, but also diagnosis. There was a survey that was conducted with 1,000 men in the UK, and 40% of men reported to have never spoken to anyone about their mental health. Now, for the men who said they don't talk to anyone about their mental health, they gave the following underlying reasons. 40% said that I've learned to deal with it. 36% said, I don't wish to be a burden to anyone. 29% said, I'm too embarrassed. And 20% said there's a negative stigma around this type of thing. 17% said, I don't want to admit I need support. And 16% said, I don't want to appear weak. 14% said, I have no one to talk to. So we can see there's a number of barriers preventing men from speaking up about their mental health. And addressing these barriers involves creating a more open, supportive, and safe environment where men can feel more comfortable discussing their mental health. What this also does is it opens the door to promote mental health education and encourage positive role models willing to create these safe spaces and model how to navigate certain emotions and, of course, promote the overall topic of mental health. Look, I hope you have a better idea of the factors related to why boys and men may find it difficult to discuss our mental health. I mean, look, it's difficult for many of us to go to the doctor for regular annual checkups. But many of us are more likely to talk about having the diabetes, a broken foot, or needing a knee replacement than talking about our mental health. And we have to do a better job of creating safe spaces and supporting one another to have mental health discussions. So let's tackle that topic in an upcoming video. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and make sure you leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And in the meantime, you already know what it is. Make sure you take care of yourselves and one another. Peace.